Hey guys, I'm back. Welcome to all you guys. Welcome back. I don't know how long it's been since I made my last video, but to me it feels like a while because really I've been overworking myself, and I'll explain that in a little bit once we discuss the topic of this video. Because I think this was a huge eye-opener. I already, was predisposed to it and aware of it, sort of it, but it's different to feel it on your own skin. Kind of like life here, right? You may see from the outside of this matrix, the controversies and the insanity that happens, but it's another thing to experience it firsthand. I hope my video is a little bit better though, by the way, because I did get a new phone, and it does seem to have a better camera, if not the front camera, at least the back camera. But I'm currently filming it with the front, so it looks better right now. Anyways, yeah, that was one of the perks of kind of working this job. And for those that may not know, I went into a little bit of sales. They market it as management training, marketing, right? But it's sales, right? It's salespeople selling you the job, essentially. The guys at the top, same corporation type of deal. But I've really just been putting in like 60, 70, 80 hours of work with this job, this business, and then my other businesses, my other things I have to do, Patreon, my numerology thing, reffing, and then YouTube, which I really haven't been getting to lately. I haven't been going on my my walks either, and I've been feeling burnt out. But I started researching, I started learning more about the company, I started understanding every little step, because I was essentially starting to get noticed. I was being very genuine. I was being very, full of integrity with my approach to this job, with my approach to sales. I noticed right off the bat that the products they may have been marketing were not ideal, right? They weren't necessarily focused on best, customer experience, if you want to say that. But I was able to find a way to make it cheaper and get people, a better deal than they were currently getting, at least, and new stuff, right? So that, I guess, ingenuity or genuine, that ability to be genuine, let's say that, brought the right people to my table and, gave me the right success. All the while still feeling incredibly scripted. I'd still see the same numbers repeat over and over again because we always have to take their IDs. So it felt like every single day was scripted for me. It felt like every single day I was either meant to do good, or I was like kind of guided maybe, or pushed aside to not do good. Maybe it wasn't the right environment, it wasn't the right day. Maybe I didn't need too much whatever emphasis or notice from other higher management or whatever. But my main point with this story that I'm telling you guys is that a lot of it, or most of it, is gaslighting, manipulation, right? They feed on your trauma wounds. For example, they like to hire a lot of former athletes, aka me, and a lot of these athletes are very much the go-getter types, very much the not the quitter types, to say the least. And they know that. They take advantage of that, and they tell people, it's not the systems that aren't working, it's you that isn't working. You're not working hard enough. You're not taking the right amount of notes. You're not putting forth enough effort, right? You need to work harder. And I couldn't help but constantly keep thinking of this reality, because I know to my core really who I am, at least from the Matrix personality, that I am a good learner, that I do like to think for myself. I was constantly testing their systems to see if they truly do work, and at their script level they were working and attracting customers, which I was using them with my own little twist, 100%, bringing people to my table. But then they kind of imply that you need to leave some things out. Don't tell the customer everything they don't need to know, right? And again, that goes back to the same practices we see not only here but at the astral level, the higher echelons of the matrix, right? Leave stuff out. Don't tell them everything. It's a management training program, right? We're here to learn. We're on earth to learn. We're being trained. We're being managed and guided to then, for us to become those managers and trainees. Because the funny part is, I worked my way up the ladder in a very short amount of time, really. And I'm kind of like at that manager, not really manager, but the leader role, in which, they want me guiding other people, but they're not giving you anything extra in a sense. They're adding more responsibilities to you, and then you're working harder, and then for the same pay, you still got to go in the field, sell stuff. So, I can imagine that we can kind of feel for these guides potentially, or these lower level echelon managers of the Matrix, that they actually may be overworking themselves as well. And, essentially they're brainwashed, because not everyone knows what's going on exactly, right? They tell them the basics. It's compartmentalized in this company, at least. They try to be transparent, but they're not telling them everything, right? They're not really being fully honest. So these people are brainwashed. They're bought into the cult. It's a cult. We stand all the time, right? Where it's like this giant room. There's no seats. You stand. You listen to the CEO talk, right? You feed into it. You drink the Kool-Aid, and then you go out and you feel motivated. You feel like, oh, I want to be the CEO one day. I want to give those talks one day. So they motivate you to sell, again, lower quality, unideal products that you have pretty bad customer service in general. From the reviews I've noticed, it was like 1 out of 5 stars. Just so you can then one day motivate people to do the same thing while making money off of them. Of course, we make a little bit more money, They pride themselves on that. Anyways, not trying to make it about them, but the analogy is very pertinent, I believe, because Saturn, from what I've studied in astrology, numerology, and the occult, right? What we see around us, what these elites, controllers, supposed controllers try and show us through their symbolism, seems to be the ruler of this matrix, right? Seems to be at least the good cop, bad cop manager, not the AI itself, or not the demiurge itself. And in astrology, Saturn is fully based around hard work. You need to work hard, you need to commit yourself to it, dedicate, right? Which all seem to be very virtuous on the surface. And again, a lot of these qualities are what athletes have. In order to be successful as an athlete in the sport, you need to fully commit yourself to it. You need to put in those extra hours. You need to dedicate your whole life to it. And that essentially means sacrificing other things, right? Sacrificing family life, sacrificing relationships, sacrificing other fun activities you may not be doing anymore, right? And, that doesn't translate to this work world very much either. It really doesn't translate in the athletic world either, because you can do all that and still not make it, because only like 1% of athletes make it. And I know for myself, because I never made it pro. I got like as high as semi-pro in soccer. So they want you to put forth the work. Saturn wants you to put forth the work here, because that opens up it's a test, right? It opens up the possibility for you to then be taken advantage of. And my people born on the 8th, 17th, 26th, or people whose life path is 8, you have that energy in you already. So you already don't feel good enough if you're not working hard enough. If you don't feel you're working hard enough, and if you're not achieving the results that you think you deserve, that you think you should be achieving, right? So again, that's a trauma wound. The hard worker, they point, you may say like, oh, well, your systems aren't working, you're making me lie to people, this is bad stuff, this is not ideal. Oh, no, it's not the systems, it's not this reality that's not working. This reality is perfect, it's great. You're not good enough, you're not working hard enough, you can't create the reality you want, you need to use the law of attraction better. You didn't learn your lessons. You had an issue with, let's say, being overly competitive, or you had an issue with, not feeling worthy enough because you didn't get the results you wanted. You feel like you didn't work hard enough. Well, you need to go back and do it all over again, and we'll put you through the exact same things just so you can deal with it. Because that's what you may think the solution is. Well, okay, if I have an issue of being competitive, I'm going to keep putting myself in competitive scenarios until I stop being competitive, right? that may be the issue? That may be the solution, you think? Well, no, because I thought that at one point too. And if you guys remember that earlier video that I made of, kind of constantly gaslighting yourself to put yourself in these toxic situations so you can learn how to deal with the toxicity. No, all that really does is corrupt you. Like if I didn't have a backbone in this job and I was sleazy and had no, let's say, moral standard, that I wasn't going to lie to people, that I wasn't going to deceive them, I would have easily let myself do all those things. And all it would have done was corrupted me. So I wouldn't have learned how to deal with it. It was rather more of a test of virtue for myself, right? To see if I can put up with those things. But again, why am I doing that to myself? Do I just think I'm not worthy? Why do I feel the need to test myself? Right? That's really the core principle why we test others, is because we do not trust ourselves. We don't think we are worthy. So then we also do that to others, because since we don't trust ourselves, we're naturally not going to trust others and think they're below, the virtuous standard. And if that sounds familiar, that should be clicking or ringing some bells. That's what this God also does to us, right, with these tests. Because we're not good enough, it doesn't feel good enough. So it makes us go through these tests to prove our goodness, and then it'll love us, and then we can go to heaven. See how it works? It's a very traumatizing, fracturing circle of death, right? So you spiral all the way down into the depths of hell by doing so, because it fractures you. It splits apart the personalities of your already fake personality of the soul. Your spirit, your essence is pure, it's whole. But the soul comes in, the personality, and then it fractures, and then it fractures again. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I am good enough. Oh, sometimes I'm a good person, sometimes I'm not a good person. Sometimes I lie, sometimes I don't lie. Right, just like that movie that I mentioned, Inside Out 2. That was her consciousness. That's what it had formed into. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes maybe not so good. And it was still whole, it was still kind of united. She had integrated all that stuff, but these were still all identities that she was hanging on to. And really, the process stops when you stop believing in it. When you stop thinking you need to test yourself. When you stop thinking you need to put yourself in those situations. Because you're already full, you're already whole. And your attachment to these identities, they need to get better at something. They need to develop the self, right? The self-development, it's false, it's fake. It's the ego trying to get better. And the ego attachment of these things, the achievements, these whatever selves that need to get better, is keeping you here. Because then they turn the knife and they say, well, look, okay, so this self is really good at that, did great there, nice job, but here it just wasn't good enough. This other self, that part where you were lying, or that part you didn't work hard enough, or you hurt other people, that wasn't good enough. So as your manager, as your guide, we suggest a retraining, which means you need to demote, go back down, and retrain, relearn these things. Because what do? When you do that, you help the company grow, right? You go back and you work for free, just like they're doing at this company that I'm in. And you work hard because thinking you're chasing the carrot, and you keep putting forth your effort as a slave, and you help the company generate revenue, because that's all they care about. They don't care about you, right? This matrix does not care about you. It's a trick, it's a matrix, it's full of tricks, and that's all they have. And the moment you decide, I don't want to play that game anymore, I quit, I'm done, whatever, I don't need your false rewards of life, is the moment that they lose all power and control over you, right? These upper echelon of management, titans, Olympians, whoever they are, they stop fighting over you because you're not producing any more energy. They're both fighting over you because, just like the top managers, they want you on their team to make their team grow and make them look better, which still helps the whole company grow, right? But the spirit of competitiveness is within all the ranks. At the lower level, everyone's trying to be the best salesman. Higher level, leader, manager, best executive, the best national executive. Oh my God, you're so great. And people that have these wounds of recognition easily fall prey to that. And that likely is still a part of me. If I was at some level attracted to this, I was kind of went in there a little bit skeptical to begin with. But I feel the ineffable one is always guiding me, always opening my eyes, and I got to the sweet spot where you can still make money. So I made the money I needed, but not get taken advantage of, because again, I've been working like too much, and that was just sales, right? Now they're starting to add all the leadership stuff, all these useless meetings you got to go to, and information you got to know, and it's BS. So think about how that applies to you in your life. Again, I've been hopefully doing a lot of good work with the Patreon, trying to apply this practically to everyone involved. I hope you guys have been liking it if you're watching. I do try my best to help you guys. And then, if you're interested in that, check that out. But yeah, try to think how this applies to your own life. Where are you being taken advantage of? What wounds are they using against you? Pushing it, which calls you to action, which calls you to do something that you may not feel is best, but then they give you recognition because you sold yourself, right? You sold a piece of yourself to that situation, when regularly you wouldn't have done something like that. And it doesn't feel right because you don't feel right? It's not something that makes you, that uplifts you, let's say, or it feels natural to you, like, oh, I can easily do this. This is great. This is my talent. So, try and find something here that does that for you, that is good in that way for you, but don't get attached to the result. Don't get attached to the glorification, not only in the physical world, but also the mental and spiritual world, where, your ego gets glorified, you feel appreciated, or things like that. These are things, we need to integrate and naturally be ourselves. Appreciate yourself, and then you won't need that appreciation for others, right? You won't be chasing it. Because I very much noticed this runner-chaser dynamic. Even my manager pointed it out in the interview process. Like, you want to make them feel like they're earning their spot here, even though they interview everyone. You want to make them feel like they're chasing you, because just like that girl or guy that you want, when they give you attention, it's like, oh, I don't want you anymore because I already got you. So, you like it when I just started laughing at myself, because she clearly has that, issue going on, but not to judge her anyway. We're all a little hurt somehow. But, that dynamic was prevalent in the runner-chaser, right? And again, that reeks of desperation. That shows desperation, whether it's for relationships, whether it's for material things. And, the true part of you, your essence, is not desperate. It's good as it is. It doesn't need anything. Oh, one more thing, guys, before we end. I forgot to mention, I think one of the most obvious reasons why hard work is another trap. And we just have to look at the Chinese astrology, and I'm blessed to have been born under the one, that realizes this, supposedly. But in Chinese astrology, the most hardworking one, they have a race, if you don't know the story. 12 animals, right? And the most hardworking one isn't the winner. That one actually comes in second place. The most hardworking one is the ox, which, again, they worship in the Matrix, right? The bull, they worship the bull. But the winner is actually the rat. And he's not, let's say, he can't work hard at all, let's say that. He's very feeble, weak, but he's very smart. And he's actually riding on the ox's back. So he already knew the ox was going to win ahead of time. Chose the ox, got to the end of the race, and just as it's about to finish, jumps off and beats the ox. So again, it shows you that working smarter, not harder, is the way to beat this matrix, essentially. Not to mention that rat is part of the word matrix to begin with, right? So is art, anagram for rat. So, you know, it's kind of in our faces to begin with. I'm not saying that hard work isn't necessary, but if you think that if you just work hard at anything you do, you're going to succeed, it's false. And you know, that's what this matrix will have you thinking as well, in terms of learning all your lessons. You need to realize what's going on, and then work hard at that, and then you'll succeed. Then you'll integrate. Then you'll be able to sort of detach from this matrix and finally go home if that's what you choose to do. But anyways, yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.